Bonjour, Tampa. That's about all we know. Just kidding. We have gotten a little further than that on our trip, but we are officially here. It was our, I guess, third day, our second full day to be in the city, and it is very surreal. I'm coming live here from Paris in the 11th arrondissement at our apartment hotel. Excuse me. That is just temporary. We needed it to get our visa. You have to have 90 days of a place to live, but you can change your mind on if you want to stay there or not after you get here. And so we'll only be here as long as we have to be so that we can find a place to live. So that's been our biggest focus. It's been looking at, we haven't actually seen any apartments yet. We have seen just the roads that, some apartments we've seen online that our relocation specialist is helping us with. So we walked the entire 7th arrondissement. We have isolated 2 in the 6th arrondissement, what many of you would know as Saint-Germain area, Saint-Germain, not to be confused with the Saint-Germain soccer team or football team. Here in Europe, they would call it that, not soccer. But the area there is great as well. It's busier than the 7th. The 7th is a little quieter. It's a little closer to the Eiffel Tower. Lots of just a different vibe. It's really kind of challenging to decide what we really want to have for our year here. I guess to catch you up to today, the flight was great coming over, a little bumpy in the middle of the night, but we did fine. Food was fantastic. I got a little bit of sleep, watched a good French movie. We landed, we had some really nice people fortunately we had a company pick up all of our stuff, so they were able to get all of our suitcases and deliver them directly to the driver, who was then amazing at packing his vehicle. We did have 8 suitcases with us. 4 were just carry-on size, so it's not like we went extreme, but we did have a lot of luggage. And so he was able to get all of them in there and then get us here to the hotel, and then he brought everything into the hotel, and we just had to get it upstairs. So that took 2 trips because they have very small elevators in France. But meanwhile, we've been settling in. So we looked at the 7th, we looked at the 6th. If you know anything about the 7th Rue Claire as a famous street, it's beautiful. The best part about the 7th is no matter where you go, when you kind of step out of your apartment, you get to see the Eiffel Tower, which I know that's a touristy thing, but we're only here a year, and frankly, that still makes us a tourist, right? And I'm still just get the goosebumps when I see the Eiffel Tower. To be able to see it on a regular basis, I think there's a plus to that, especially in the 7th, because you're not so far from everything. If you're sitting in the 16th looking at it, you're far. If you're in the 7th, closer to the 6th, then you really can get across the bridge and get to the 1st arrondissement pretty easily, which is where the Louvre is, and the 2nd, where there's a lot of other shopping and sorts. You're also close to the Bon Marché, which is a great shopping area, and you're not too awfully far from, say, the Jardin de Luxembourg, that park that you might want to go to, and it really has good transportation. So there's some pluses to that. The 6th is fantastic. It is the perfect location, but it's also a little loud. So, there's like a lot going on. So we'll see. We actually do like the 11th that we are sitting in. It's called the Marais Bastille area. And it's walkable to the Marais, both the 3rd and the 4th arrondissement. If you don't know what an arrondissement is simply the last 2 digits of the zip code in Paris. Paris is laid out like a snail. It starts at 1 and it goes it goes clockwise. So 1, 2, 3, 4, you go over the Seine, and you have 5, that's the Latin district, or the Latin quarter, I should say. And it's called the Latin quarter because they only spoke Latin in that quarter, because it was all the universities, and the universities used to only teach in Latin. So it's still a very young, very hot vibe place, great restaurants, big nightlife, because it's still mostly university students in that area, at least closer to the Seine. So then you have the 6th, Saint-Germain, that's where like Café de Flore, Café du Magot, where all the artists hung out. It has a very cool, kind of bougie, higher end, intellectual vibe about it. And then you get into the 7th, same vibe-ish, maybe a little less artsy, a little more professional, a little older money per se maybe. And then you go, obviously 8 goes back across the Seine, 9-10. You would know 9 and 10 is the area where the L'Opera is, where the best Galeries Lafayette is, because you can see, if you go to the top of that shopping mall, you can actually see the Eiffel Tower from there. It's a free, basically, what's that called? Like patio, rooftop patio, that you can see the Eiffel Tower from, take pictures. Also, it's the one that has the beautiful dome. We're definitely going to be shopping there, and I will show you pictures from there. And soon we'll be going, because I believe it's the 12th of December, they will be pulling out their Christmas tree. The Christmas tree fills the entire rotunda of this shopping Galeries Lafayette. There's multiple Galeries Lafayette, so this is the one that you want to go to that's in the 9th or 10th. And then it fills up into the dome, which the dome is just a huge, like, stained glass dome. So they do a different Christmas theme every year. I would say it's fantastic, 4 out of 5. So let's hope that this year is one of the 4 out of 5, where it really just hits the mark, and it's so impressive. And then it continues to go. Now, I will tell you that as it snails out, when you get into your outer arrondissements, after, I guess it would be after 9-10, then it starts to be where Napoleon Bonaparte actually added the additional arrondissements to get your second circle. So originally Paris was just I would guess it was the 1 through 8, and then the 9 through the 20 would have been added with Napoleon. I could be off on 1 or 2 of those arrondissements, so don't count me as total fact on that. But that's basically what happened. That last round of the snail was all added by Napoleon as Paris proper, when he was in charge of operations over here. So some things that have been fun. We've eaten at several French restaurants, obviously. I mean, they're all French restaurants, right? Even the Asian ones would be French because they're in France. But we've eaten at mostly just true traditional French, mostly restaurants that have continued service, because typically in France, restaurants are open for petit déjeuner, which would be breakfast, déjeuner, and then possibly for supper or dinner. But they're going to close somewhere in there. So even if they're not open for breakfast and they're not open for dinner, but if they're open for lunch and dinner, they typically will close somewhere around 2. Now, they won't necessarily close their doors completely. A lot of times they'll continue to serve coffee, beverages, alcohol drinks, wine, whatever that is, but just liquid beverages. And then, not that there's anything other than the liquid beverage, but you're getting my idea. And then like a snack. So maybe some olives, or it might be some popcorn, or it might be some nuts. It's not your choice. They just bring it to the table. And that's kind of like your snack. So they do that usually from like 2 to 6. And then at 6 o'clock, they'll actually start to finish dinner. Some actually don't start till 7. So you just never really know what you're going to get. So if you were a French local, you would go to Aperol, and that would be like your happy hour, and you would have drinks and those little snacky things. But there are a few restaurants with continued service, meaning they don't close. And we've been to a lot of those, because by the time we're dealing with these time changes, we're getting ready, we're going out on the town. We're trying to eat at like 1:30, 2 o'clock for lunch, or lunch/breakfast, frankly. And so we're eating at a lot of those French places. We did eat at Carrette's today. Fantastic. It's known for its chocolat chaud, which is your hot chocolate. They serve it with a chantilly whipped cream kind of thing, if you love that. Very quintessential what you think of with France. You're going to get your quiches, your sandwiches, your salads, all the famous type of crepes. You're gonna get pastries, all of those types of things that you imagine when you think about France, that are not heavy. So you're gonna be more in a restaurant if you're looking at like escargot, beef bourguignon, duck à l'orange, those types of things are going to be in a full-fledged restaurant. But kind of cafe type thing, food, that's what they serve. And they're known for their hot chocolate. And it was delicious. It is basically like a liquid Hershey bar poured into a cup. Note to self, they have a single serving and a double serving. I can't imagine needing a double serving for 2 people. 1 container is more than enough to satisfy anyone. So I'd highly recommend. It really, it was a tourist trap. I planned on it being a tourist trap. We went to the one across from the Place de Visage, right? Didn't we go across from the beach, Parc de Visage? Mm-hmm. Across from the park, I mean. And it was like a 2-second wait. But we got in immediately. Don't plan on leaving quick. I mean, it takes a couple hours. But it's definitely worth it. It's a little more expensive because it is touristy, but I have to tell you, the food is fantastic. We will go again. They have the most amazing strawberries. The strawberries in France are so different. They have lots of flavor. They're smaller and they have very small seeds. The texture is a little softer, not as firm. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. It's a little different thing going on. They also have a fruit called cassis that's quite popular. Actually, and that's a currant. If you've not seen a currant, it is about the size of a smaller cranberry, but thin skin, like a grape, almost see-through skin. And they're a little bit tart, not as tart as a cranberry, but not as sweet or as plain, I should say, as a grape. So they're very interesting. They have lots of different things flavored with cassis here. And that's a lot of fun to try that too. We did go past a little fruit stand and we did get some grapes, but we forgot to get them sans, what is it, Pinot, I think. We forgot to look for sans Pinot, which is no seeds. So that first round didn't go over all that well, but we did get our second round. So we have those here in our kitchen here in our little condo-tel. To finish this conversation up, and then I will do another video kind of with like some of the things that we've had to buy over the last 3 days because we either didn't pack them because they took up too much space, or we just thought we needed to buy them here, like electrical things and sorts. The last thing I was going to say about here, what was that? Oh, was our condo hotel. Really quick, what that's about. It's basically a 1-bedroom, 1 bath. And in France, it's not unusual for the toilet to have its own room. They call it a toilet here. A lot of toilets, if you were to ask for the bathroom, they would think that's weird because their bathroom has a bath. If it has a shower and no bath, it's a shower room. So they're very specific that way. Bathroom, shower room. They use French words, obviously, but it means bathroom, it means shower room, and then they have their les toilettes. You're not going to ask for a bathroom in a public restaurant because you're not going to take a bath in a public restaurant. So you want to make sure you look for les toilettes. I did see water closet the other day, or WC, in one of the restaurants on Rue Claire in the 7th. But anyhow, we have a little toilet room. We have a bathroom that has a bathtub with a shower head. That would still be considered a bathroom. We then have our bedroom, and then we have our living space and a little kitchen. It's got 2 burners, microwave, dishwasher, little refrigerator, coffee pot, toaster, that sort of thing. They also had a lovely little setup when we got here of like pasta and sauce and some kind of a potato soup that you can microwave, a candy bar, potato chips, salt and pepper, and olive oil. So some really nice little basics to get us started if we wanted to make a quick meal at the place before we got going. And then we also have a nice balcony. And it's not really fancy or anything, but it's a great balcony in regards to it looks across a beautiful park here along our road is called Boulevard Richard Lenoir. And it's a beautiful park down the center of the 2 roads. So it's kind of like a parkway, I guess. And all the apartments on the other side are beautiful and historical. There's some modern mixed in there, but mostly historical. And to sit out there in the morning, if the sun is out, I'll tell you, 55 does not feel that cold when the sun is shining and there's no wind or humidity. So that's a big plus. And we've been enjoying doing our worship time and our devotionals on the balcony and just really getting a chance to live in gratitude and being thankful for what this opportunity that God's provided for us. So it's been amazing. And this apartment is going to work out great. It's apartment hotel. It's going to work out great for us until we find our actual place. So as I mentioned, we looked at the 7th, we looked at the 6th. We also then today hit the 3rd and checked out it in regards to arrondissement. So we're excited about our search next week. We're going to look on Monday and then Tuesday, and hopefully we'll see something that we can make a decision on and we can be in before the end of November. So fingers crossed and lots of prayers on that. So I'm gonna get off this video, have a quick bite, and then pop back on. We're eating in-house tonight, a little croque monsieur from a local boulangerie. It is Halloween night, so we've been seeing lots of fun stuff that way too. And I can kind of give you a rundown on what our purchases have looked like since we've gotten here. Hope everything's going great on your end, and we'll talk soon.